you.
Well, he's killed a couple of our slides already.
That's right.
As he said, he's Terry and I'm Dave, and we're going to be talking about data distribution as a service.
That's right.
And
So that's me.
that's him. Yep.
That's David.
That's me. Yep.
Right.
All right.
See, we already got rid of 2 slides out of the, so 15-minute talk's going to go by like you wouldn't believe. So basically what we have is we have 1 million square kilometers or thereabouts in British Columbia that we have to distribute data for the various ministries. And that data is constantly evolving. So it may be that the data is updated annually or might be created and never touched again. But other data, sensor data, gets updated every 15 minutes. So it's very hard to put on an FTP site a shapefile and a CSV and everything. So our challenge was, how do we distribute this data so that people can use it?
Oh, I love that diagram.
And there we have, everyone has to have the tacky, blocky diagram, and we've got that in there. So basically, to let you know how it works is data custodians gather the data, so Ministry of Transportation gathers the roads, Ministry of Forest gathers the cut blocks and the forestry roads and what sort of trees are out there. All of that goes into a repository, what we call the geographic warehouse, and from there we have ways of accessing that data, data distribution being one of those ways. So we're going to do a very brief history of time because we have less than 10 minutes to say it all. So
this is sort of, you'll see the distribution service and FME sort of tracking along this timeline together because they're both evolving and changing. So we want to go back to the past so we can look at how long this has been evolving. Some people may remember Gray Davis. He was the governor of California, and he was terminated by Arnold Schwarzenegger in that year. So political turmoil is not just today, it's always there. When we were reviewing this last night, we looked at that, and what the heck was that? Shows you how long ago I wrote this. That's actually the Eastern Seaboard had big blackouts that year. We had the Lord of the Rings, the final movie. We thought, anyway, till The Hobbit came out. What else was happening? iTunes came. That was the first year iTunes was available. Fiber optics. We were moving off of off of old telecom modems to fiber optics and stuff like that. And SAFE currently supported 100 formats. Workbench was kind of just a prototype, an idea that was being stood up. But we did have improved XML format. And DWDS was launched.
that's right. So when DWDS was first launched, we did use FME objects. It was one small black box component within a very massive system. We had over 700 products in the warehouse at that time, and we also had to deal with things like security, because not all data is downloadable by everybody, as well as accountability. So I had to be able to let the data custodians know what was going on with their data, because we don't actually take ownership of the data. It still belongs to the ministry that created the data set. We went with the model of the clip, zip, and ship, which FME is famous for as well. But again, because it was FME objects, it was very black box and very unwieldy, because we had a lot of Java beans.
It was amazing.
It was amazing.
Unwieldy.
It was amazing. For 2003, it was absolutely astounding. And then you get your blocky
We got to
diagram.
stop there. I wanted to redo this in Visio, make it super glitzy, but Terry pushed back. We had to preserve the past. I personally like my squished can there. I couldn't get the font right. I finally just gave up and pushed it out. Anyway.
But you can see here, FME and FME objects, very small part of it. We had different jar files, and we had Java beans and all that fun stuff in order to make it all work. But time moves on.
It's 2012. Wow. So what do we got happening here? We had that Gunman style. Everybody remembers that song. Get it in your head now. Let's see what else. We had a hockey strike, which really is the biggest tragedy of anything we've got put up so far. The Walking Dead started, and it's still going. Still going. Twilight. That's when Twilight started. And what else we got here? We got basically video on demand becoming common. We don't even think about it now, but 2003 was a dream. 2012 it started. HTML5 came out, and now we're up to 275 formats. FME Server was sort of recrafted and launched, and we had more improved XML.
Don is just.
And Don's not even here to appreciate it. I've got to remove that part from the talk.
So we decided at that time it was time for a change. The old system was quite antiquated by the standards of the day. And we actually reached out for a request for proposal for help with this because it wasn't something we could take on entirely by ourselves, which is where Forte stepped in and helped us. So I get to be the person that you complain to the system about, and they get to work the magic behind the scenes. So that's the way we've sort of got our working relationship. We got rid of beans and we went from FME objects to FME server. So at that time, we were talking with SAFE and they had ways of migrating from the objects to a workbench file, and there was this strategy in place, several steps to get us there. And then we talked to Forte, and Forte said, oh no, we'll get you that up and running in FME server next iteration. And they did, it was great. But we now have scalability, easier maintenance, and we've put a lot more emphasis on the back end, so we can do a lot more analysis now and we can see what's going on. When you go into FME server and look at a log file to see what's going on with the data in the transformation, now you can figure out why things failed rather than just saying, yeah, you're right, it failed. So that's always a plus when you're dealing with people trying to download the data.
Nope, another one of these slides. So again, this is 2003, 2012, 2015. We in Canada turned a big political page. I'll say no more than that. I don't want to get in trouble. But this one we all agree, oil did a face plant and it all changed our lives, whether we like it or not. 110 to 40. The Canadian dollar tracks amazingly well against the price of oil. And what else? We had a good Star Wars film that came out. I know the Disney lawyers did not want me to put this up there, but I will let it there. It's kind of wiped the stain of Jar Jar Binks away. And then we have the next stage.
Right. We did get rid of all of the Star Wars fonts and everything from this,
Yeah,
just to make sure that SAFE didn't get sued. So, what we did a few years ago is we actually went out and we did that amazing thing of talking to our clients and saying, what would you like to see? And what would your ideal distribution service be? So not only did we send out a survey to our own people and the data custodians, but also to the end users. And we had an amazing response. Greater than 75% of the people that we sent the survey to actually responded. So we were quite impressed with that. Obviously, people had something to say, even though we hadn't been hearing it through the normal channels. But it did help us to adjust our philosophy. And so out with the old and in with the new, and everyone likes to look at workbench files, so that's the old.
I realize that this workbench file could have absolutely nothing to do with what we're doing. It could be anything.
Yeah, but you can see it looks better now, right? So that's what matters.
That's what matters.
So basically what we heard from all of our clients, or most of our clients, is that they did not like the idea of being in one system and being shuffled to a different system when you're dealing with data. So if you're in the data catalog and you're searching for data and you say, I'd like to download it, it would ship you over to the distribution service. If you were in IMAP and you saw the data and you're looking at it on the screen and you wanted to download it, you'd actually have to leave and go to distribution service. People did not like that idea.
And that workbench file pretty much captures that.
That's right,
Yeah.
that's right. So what we've decided to do is go with, okay, stay in the application you're in. And that was the new philosophy that we adjusted to. So we've done that. We've actually encapsulated that. Now when you're within IMAP BC, when you're there, you'll see in the HTML5 version, because that's the way we've all gone, there is the download provincial layer tool, which will allow you to see a subset of the data that you have loaded in IMAP, and you can select which ones you want to download. Not only that, if you've selected your own mining claims or you've selected a few point features or polygon features, you can actually download just the items that you've selected. So you don't have to download the entire province. You can download a subset of the province. And then you get into the shopping cart model here, which looks a lot like the old distribution service in functionality. Gives you the projection coordinate systems, the format that you'd like it in, the type of area of interest you'd like to set. And in here you can see we've actually got some selected features that we're going to
Now,
download.
those are screen scrapes. This is all up and live and available.
This is
right?
up and live and available,
Can you
yes.
see it now, or?
Not with less than 2 minutes left,
Okay. Then
but we can go into
I'll
that
stop
later.
talking. Yeah.
Also within the catalog, if you're in the catalog and you find data that you want, you can click the Explore button off to the right there, which will bring down a drop-down, which will actually say Explore/download, and you'll get another widget that pops up that allows you to zoom into this map and give your email address. And again, once you click Place Order, you're actually shuffled over to the distribution service, but now because it's an API, you never notice that you've left the application. It goes off here, and it does what distribution does so well.
So it's sort of like ordering cat food on Amazon. You never know.
That's right.
It's all seamless.
That's right, the hook is coming out. So
Okay.
off we go. So we're going to keep working on it, and the stay where you are philosophy is firmly entrenched with us now, and we're going to try and make all the systems equivalent. So the take-home message is we're now an API. Just like FME Server, we work behind the scenes, and someone else gets to take all the glory for what's going on. And thank you.
Thank you.
I think we might have time for maybe one quick question.
Do you have to save time on processing or in the delivering, especially for whole province data sets, and perhaps having to pre-process that format, and then having to maybe transform that to different projections with one job, for example, with FME? So I guess there's two questions to that. Have you had to pre-process your large data sets so that they're always available to just download? And then also having the option of transforming one order, having multiple different outputs with that.
I'll just field the second half. I think we don't want to really do anything to the data beyond getting into a coordinate system that you request in a format. So we'll leave the downstream transformations to you. I believe the first part of your question has to do with what we used to call prepackaged data.
That's right. We do have two models available to us right now. So we do have some of our larger data sets. So if a data set becomes too large, you have to set an area of interest to make the processing quicker. If that's the case, if the data set isn't replicated into the warehouse too regularly, so forest vegetation is one of those, it's once a year, we can package it up, give it to you in BC Albers in a file geodatabase, and it's there. You can just click and download the entire province. But if you want something other than that, if you want a shape file or something, you'd have to go in through distribution and set an area of interest to restrict how much data you can get, because especially if you want a shape file, you can't download it. It's 6 gigabytes and Shape won't handle it. So we have that dual methodology, prepackaged or customized, but it only works for some of the data. Some of the data that's coming every 15 minutes, we don't have the capacity to prepackage that and replicate it to an FTP site for download.
I'm going to have to cut you off, I'm afraid, because we're running into the next speaker, and I don't want to cut you short. But,
Absolutely. But we'll be around.
yes.
Please
And
feel free to approach us.
1 million square kilometres in 15 minutes. I think you did pretty good there. You know, it's like 100,000 kilometres a minute. So
That,
that's really good.
and we can talk that quickly, yes.
So thank you once again.
That's great. Thank you.
Great.
Thank you.
David.